You know, it's been said that time can offer different perspectives to movies even decades after their original release. Movies like Tron developed a cult-like following 20 years after its 1982 theatrical release, even though it didn't set the world on fire around that time. The same can be said with 1995's Batman Forever, in which people could see what Joel Schumacher was trying to do in offering a different take for The Dark Knight. And we come to the 20th anniversary of 2001's Jurassic Park III. Now, I know what some of you are going to say, but you've reviewed this movie before. That's true. But considering the higher level of quality I've raised since the 25th anniversary of Jurassic Park, I wanted to go back and take another crack at this. Plus, a movie only ever gets a 20th once. So, let's head back to Isla Sorna once again. 20 years after viewing this movie, I still have the same perspective from what scenarios could the studio use considering what stories had been told with the original and The Lost World. There had to be some way of getting people back onto the island as Site B had been made restricted courtesy of what the bald T-Rex did in San Diego. It does seem rather illogical for a man and his potential teenage stepson to go parasailing along the coast of Isla Sorna, hoping to get footage of the dinosaurs. But again, there wouldn't be much need of a rescue if you didn't have idiots. Now, am I referring to the characters or the writers? My answer is yes! There are elements that are genuinely thought-provoking and could have potentially led to some interesting possibilities. The aspect of the illegal cloning taking place on Isla Sorna with the omission of the Spinosaurus when the list of dinosaurs that had been cloned after the San Diego incident in The Lost World. As Grant says,
Spinosaurus aegypticus.
I don't remember that on InGen's list.
It's because it wasn't on their list, and that makes you wonder what else they were up to.
and that's where that aspect ends, as it's never brought up again. Whilst we're on this subject, while I liked the idea of the Spinosaurus being introduced, I was not a fan of this animal killing off the T-Rex, which had been the franchise's MVP since the very first movie. It'd be like dethroning Stone Cold Steve Austin as the WWE Champion and replacing him with Virgil. You see how this doesn't make any sense? If they had to go to the route of replacing T-Rex, I think it would have been better if it came down to halfway through the movie and have the Spino kill it then. The way it was done with not even 30 minutes past was just asinine and unnecessary. The illegal cloning is an interesting aspect that could have been explored more, to where we could have possibly had another movie after this where it would have delved into what had been taking place on the island. But again, considering the writing that went into this, I could be forgiven for giving this flick too much credit. And it's the same with the Velociraptors, and to give the writers some flack, they did show the evolution of these intelligent pack hunters that could vocalize and coordinate their attacks and even set up traps.
They set a trap. They actually set a trap.
One of the other faults I found with this movie is the runtime was much shorter than that of the former movies. The first two were 2 hours long, whereas this clocked in at 92 minutes. Had the movie been given an additional 15 to 20 minutes just to flesh some plot points out with regards to the illegal cloning and the raptors, it would have filled in some gaps. Upon reflection, there are some clever ideas that were introduced, but they're abandoned as quickly as they're touched upon. In the retrospective that was released with the trilogy on Blu-ray back in 2011, director Joe Johnston mentions that they did away with the original script 5 weeks before shooting and worked the new script around the dinosaurs they had made for the movie. The original script was of a family split between two planes that would have seen the plane carrying the kids crash on Isla Sorna. This is an aspect that was loosely carried over into the animated series Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous. I think had the new script had been given more time, it could have solved some of the problems this movie had. With all the problems that this movie had, Sam is easily the saving grace of this flick, and I like how they show where the character is 8 years after getting off of Isla Nublar by the skin of his teeth and not wanting to revisit that world. He displays his disdain with flawless expertise, and let's be real, if someone had kidnapped me deceitfully, I think I'd have every right to be bemused. He gives a great performance of a man showing disdain for what John Hammond and InGen had created at Jurassic Park, referring to the animals as genetically engineered theme park monsters.
Nothing more and nothing less.
I really felt like he was trying as a father to get his son back, even if he and his on-screen wife had to kidnap Grant to get him on the island. But let's be real a moment. If your kid had been left trapped on a restricted island with dangerous prehistoric predators, then I think you would do whatever it takes to get your kid back. Macy shows genuine fear, concern, and resourcefulness as Paul Kirby in the lengths he went to reunite with his son, Eric. Macy was a huge fan of the original Jurassic Park and had been waiting for some time to be part of the franchise so that he could impress his daughter. Before Megan Fox, there was Tia Leoni. And by the context of that, I'm talking about a pretty face with little talent. Although to be fair to Megan Fox, they did give her some useful material to work with in the Ninja Battle franchise. Those that have seen Bad Boys will know that this girl can't act her way out of a paper bag, and it's pretty much the same here. She doesn't know how to act with conviction, and on top of that, her character is annoying. But I think that's more of a writing flaw rather than a flaw of her acting, or their lack of.
Guys, our movie's in trouble! Hey, Leoni's trying to act! Stop her! Send this bitch to acting school on the double!
Oh, no. We're not wasting good money on her. Let's get Domino's instead.
I want human and pineapple.
Come down to Jurassic Domino's, where we have the Jurassic classic of 2 human and pineapple pizzas at a mouth-watering $14.99. And at no extra cost, 2 T-Rex T-bone steaks and a raspberry Pepsi for the every hungry raptor. Jurassic Domino's. If it's not Jurassic, it's not classic. Human and pineapple pizza is not recommended for human consumption. If you do, you're a sick and twisted cannibal and should seek counseling immediately. Just ask Hannibal Lecter. Num 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 num. Had this character been portrayed by Gillian Anderson or Nicole Kidman, then it would have been much more satisfying. Plus it's Nicole Kidman, so it's a natural win. Nivola portrays Billy like most people would have done, being on the island and being mesmerized by the animals. I get both sides of the argument with regards to stealing the raptor eggs. Grant's digs were under threat due to a lack of funding, and Billy saw the eggs as giant dollar signs as a means of funding them for 10 more years. But vicariously, I completely understand Grant's perspective in that it was dangerously stupid, as they know why the velociraptors have been chasing them up to this point. Like the previous child actors in this series, Trevor serves as the child audience participation in the movie as he plays the Kirby son and how he's managed to survive for 8 weeks on the island. Trevor's performance is impressive for a performer that of a young teen that has adapted to the island and learning forest smarts of knowing where not to go on Site B and what dinosaurs to avoid. His chemistry with Sam Neill is amazing as they make it look like a real fan-celebrity situation where they exchange knowledge. Laura's return appearance is much smaller compared to the rest, but she plays an important role in which her on-screen husband has connections with the government and has him send the Navy and the Marines at the end.
I just want to say, if you ever need help with anything, sometimes you forget to ask. So you can call me.
Wow. You have to thank her now. She said the Navy and the Marines.
God bless you, Ellie.
Despite the problems I have with the writing and some of the casting choices, this much I cannot complain about the practical and visual effect dinosaurs. Considering how well Stan Winston had brought the set dinosaurs to life with his studio in making these animals look so realistic, and being able to make improvements on the velociraptors with the features of the feathers, and the way the animals had more personality to them with the way their heads would tilt with the bird-like characteristics, it made you believe you were seeing real animals. And the same can be said with the work ILM put in with sequences with running dinosaurs. From the raptors chasing our protagonists across the plain and into the jungle, or to the T-Rex and Spino engaging in a dino fight. The Spinosaur is a creature of nightmares, with the menacing yellow eyes and its towering and domineering presence from when we first see it. Some of the most impressive and terrifying sequences are when it catches up with the boat along the river and they had this animatronic operating in the water for real. That is a major benefit to the actors, as this allows them to have something to react to, as opposed to a lot of movies these days where CG is used and the cast are training their eye line to be correct for the visual effects team. I understand from a financial perspective that it saves money to use CG, but it looks less authentic when certain shots could be achieved practically. Only minor critique I'll say for the effects is that the blue screen at the beginning leaves a lot to be desired. If you've been watching movies for as long as I have, you tend to have a trained eye to what is on location and to what is superimposed. It's the lighting and contrast you have to watch for, because you know a lot more natural light would have been behind them and you can tell they're somewhat closer to the screen. Like the effects, there is very little for me to complain about with this movie's score. Don Davis took over from John Williams and offers his own take with pulse-racing pieces for the action scenes and some pleasant scores for when you have calmer moments with the Kirbys and those uplifting pieces to when the family is reunited, to when everyone gets off the island safely. And of course, no Jurassic Park movie is complete without John Williams' iconic score. It doesn't matter how many years it's been since you hear it between movies, it still takes you back to a nice place from your youth. And that is a beautiful thing. Jurassic Park III grossed a profit of $368.8 million against a budget of $93 million. When you adjust it through 20 years of inflation, its takings today would be almost doubled at $552,000. Despite making a small profit, the movie was criticised for being nothing more than a chase ride with no real character development compared to the first two. Equally, the movie came under fire for not only replacing the T-Rex, but for the way it was taken out so quickly. Sam Neill has defended the movie on multiple occasions. When the 2011 retrospective was put together, and from an interview earlier this year saying that it's pretty damn good, aside from the final 10 minutes and hurried ending. I will agree that it could have done with being more drawn out, as the final raptor situation did feel too neatly wrapped up. I maintain, had the writing been fleshed out with elements allowed for time to breathe, then it may have improved the story and the overall runtime. There wouldn't be another Jurassic Park movie until 2015, when Jurassic World ended the 14-year hiatus with the beginning of a new trilogy, led by Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. Dependent on whom you speak to, the movie has been enjoyed since 2001 on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, and now 4K.
Not by me. That movie.
Language.
I'm MJ Knight, and this was Jurassic Park 3.